Capsule Hotel. Usually, a basic home needs to have a kitchen, bathroom, living room, and bedroom. To simplify it a bit, at least there must be a bed, wardrobe, and table, but the spacecraft has streamlined living to the extreme, retaining only one basic function: sleeping. But unlike a room with only one bed, it also provides an absolute sense of solitude and wrapping. Lin Hua was satisfied with seeing the spacecraft for the first time. At least he thinks the bed is of normal size, just like a college dormitory. Given his current conditions, he was indeed unable to demand too much. After entering the cabin, he also saw a bedside lamp, mirror, and a socket embedded on the right wall, which could be used by inserting the cabin card. Equipped with lighting, rechargeable, and a bed. That's all. But more importantly, this spacecraft is located in the city center. After comparing all the local group rental hotels, Lin Hua chose this place. The lowest price here is only 30 yuan per night, which is the only place he can afford. In contrast, hotels in the same location, even in the worst living environment, can start at over 100 yuan per night. With the advantage of geographical location, it is convenient for him to work around. Silent Cabin Group. In Lin Hua's residence, he lives with a dozen people who are almost silent, and trapped in their daily lives. Most of the residents here don't communicate much, and they go out separately during the day. Many people don't come back at night and work night shifts. However, a few people who stay in the cabin huddle behind the bamboo curtains, saying, they don't speak, they don't have their phones outside, it's very quiet. Daily interviews were conducted with multiple spacecraft occupants from various regions. From their experiences, a group portrait can be drawn of people living in spacecraft, usually to reduce travel expenses, emphasize privacy, or crave extreme compression of rental costs. Among them, there are daily construction workers, takeout workers, unpopular internet anchors, chain school teachers, and unemployed individuals who have experienced significant changes in their lives and are unable to pay mortgage, and 3 rent payments. This is the other side of reality. In some spacecraft, this sense of separation between the identity and age of occupants is reflected. For example, college students who have just graduated and are looking for jobs in other places, or middle-aged people who have just lost their jobs, their life trajectories sometimes intersect briefly in spacecraft. Yu Xian, 40, who is looking for a job in Shenzhen, Guangdong, also chose to live in a space capsule because he has limited resources. Every time he returned to his spaceship and passed by a public space, he would always see young students wearing earphones and shouting to play games. He would say from the bottom of his heart that these young people are corrupt, and do not know how to cherish time. At the same time, he would also lament that they have lost their jobs in middle age, and are under the pressure of embarrassment. Finally, he could only bow his head and hurriedly enter the cabin, pretending to ignore it. According to a business report from a space capsule manufacturer, the concept of a space capsule hostel originated in Japan, and was initially established for some office workers who were unable to return home. Its main features were economy, convenience, comprehensive service, and hygiene and comfort. The commercial newspaper also mentioned that the spacecraft highlights the concept of community and emphasizes collective activities. But often, the community experience brought about by high-density living can also make residents feel awkward. Get out of here! Nevertheless, the form of a spacecraft still has its inherent flaws. One of the biggest hidden dangers is fire safety. In rooms filled with spacecraft, the per capita usable area of the room is usually not very high. Taking the space capsule where Lin Hua is located as an example, with 20 modules per 30 square meters, if there are 20 people living, the per capita usable area is only 1.5 square meters, which is far below the requirement of many cities' regulations that the per capita living area should not be less than 5 square meters. And in the event of a fire, how people living in the spacecraft can escape is also a problem. So, this type of spacecraft is not allowed to appear in residential buildings. Another phenomenon is that in the eyes of many interviewees, the spacecraft is ultimately just a temporary residence. If we have more money or a place to live, people will eventually leave it one day.